let's explore Harry Harlow's attachment research. So, what Harry Harlow found out in the 1950s that he used rhesus monkeys where he actually created, you can see on the right side and the center actually, there's these fake monkeys that look like a mom monkey, and they put soft fur around like a metal cage so the monkey could climb up and play with it. Then on the other side, they put a monkey that looks almost exactly the same, except they had metal and milk coming out of them. And they wanted to see what the monkey would do if they were given the option of going to the mom with the soft fur or the one that was kind of rough and metal, but it had milk and food to meet their needs. What he found out is that not only did the monkey go to the soft furred monkey and like latch onto them and hug them and stay with them almost all the time, but the only time they would leave the mom was to just go over to the cage, the metal fake mom, and drink some of the milk. And then they jumped right back on the furry soft monkey, which it saw as its mom. Now, he came up with this and he called this his attachment theory. Attachment is defined as a tendency to prefer specific familiar individuals to others. So you've probably seen attachment, and people talk about it with young siblings or brothers and sisters or children, where you're like, mama, mama, dad, 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 dad. And what happens if they grab onto the mom and you try to hand them to somebody else? They go, no, mommy, and they start throwing a fit. Now, John Bolin considered the father attachment theory. He devoted extensive research in this concept and came up with the psychoanalytical view that early experiences as a child have an important influence in developing behavior later in life. And this is kind of what Freud had said, that this actually forms your personality. So what happened is under this theory, we formed the attachment theory that it shows just how important mom and dads are, and that connection, especially that infantile period where the infant is born and really needs to be touched, held, kissed, loved, share that bond with the mom and the dad so that they can build trust later in life. And we've also seen that like touching and feeling is incredibly important in children and even all of us. And that's what calms us down. It can cut down on anxiety and stress, and helps us be supported. We're very touchy-feely mammals, and mammals tend to act this way. We watched a video in class. Now let's talk about Diana Bamarin, who was identified as the following 3 types of parenting styles. So she found that there's 3 dominant parenting styles. Not that there aren't others, but these are the ones she really focused in on in her research. The first was authoritarian parents, and authoritarian parents have very high expectations for the kids, but you're expected to comply without debate or argument. They do believe in corporal punishment, so they do like spanking for disobedience or the whipped or switch. I'm sure you guys have heard of that whole saying people interpret from the Bible that, spare the rod, spoil the child, very much found in authoritarian parenting styles. Children of these parents, though, later on, they tend to be more withdrawn. They lack decision-making ability. They tend to be less curious than others. Authoritarian parents will exert a high level of control and low levels of warmth. That can be have some negative consequences when they come as adults. So those sometimes there could be the kids where you like, why do I get high grade? Or I have to get A's. I have to get A, or I'm going to be grounded this week. And they're worried about the consequences. And sometimes the kids can even lose. Like the whole point of learning and grades is to give you feedback so that you become a better student and you learn. Now, the second style she talks about is authoritative parenting style, which, yes, the parents do expect you to be compliant and follow the rules and expectations, but they also encourage the kid to be independent. They give them choices. They set limits and they give consequences or punishments, but also they're forgiving. So here's the consequence. Here's the consequence, for example, with children as they get, if I'll say to my son, Giovanni, you do this or this is going to happen. That is very authoritative, where you have a choice, but there are consequences. So he fights me about the shower. I'm like, if you don't get the shower done, then you're grounded from TV tomorrow, or you can't watch TV. Now, if you get your shower done now, you can watch TV. Oh, okay, Dad. All right. So, and if he doesn't, I have to follow through as an authoritative parent, and I have to give him the consequence where there is no television today or tomorrow because Giovanni made a poor choice, and he has to learn that. Or if he throws a fit at the store because he doesn't get something, I tell him, hey, next time we come to the store for sure. Not only are you not going to get something this time, you won't get something the next time, right? But now, what we found is authoritative parents tend to make people that tend to have high, and they have high levels of warmth. I kiss and hug Giovanni and all that, and you could do that and love them and support them, and that doesn't mean. But they also tend to not use punishment as a physical means, like corporal punishment, like no spanking or whipping or the switch kind of stuff. You don't need that. You can give other consequences like grounding them or taking something away. Then finally, the final stage that Diana Baumrin shows is that she says that you have what are permissive parents. Permissive parents have few expectations. They tend to be very warm, non-demanding. They love to cuddle with the kid. They rarely punish the children. They consider themselves friends of the child. Now, that's not seen as the best approach either. Like I think authoritarian parents are definitely going to say, look, we are not friends. I'm your dad. I love you, but sometimes you're going to be mad at me. Well, that's authoritarian and authoritative. But authoritarians will be like, I don't care if you like me. Where authoritative parent might be, well, I want you to like me, but at the same time, some things I say and do, and I'm going to have to give you consequences, can result in you being unhappy. That's part of being a parent or a teacher or an authority figure. All right? And then parents that are permissive, what her research showed that the kids tend to be more impulsive. They could be generous in social relationships, but also they get discouraged easy. They exert a low level of control over themselves. And then they might not know how to handle or navigate the world. So permissive parenting is not the most productive either. Now, I just want to be clear. She's not saying that all kids that come out of authoritarian parents can't navigate the world, or all kids that have authoritative parents are going to be good people. There's been bad people that have authoritative parents, but overall, the most effective and the most advantageous of these is authoritative parenting. Clear boundaries, clear expectations with consequences, without corporal punishment, but love, caring, and treating the child with respect. And you got to make sure we explain to children. It's very important. Authoritarian, do what I told you because I said. Or do as I say, not as I do. But authoritative is, well, why? My son will be like, well, why do I got to take a shower? Okay, well, I have to give him an explanation. You have to take a shower because you can get sick. You don't want to smell bad. You don't want to be dirty. You want to go to school. You represent your family when you go to school or you go outside the house. If you smell bad, people think that you're not clean or your family's not clean. Things like that. So now let's do Elizabeth Kugler-Ross. Elizabeth Kugler-Ross came up with the stages of terminal illness. And also psychologists have said that this may be applicable not to just terminal illness, which means somebody's dying or going through like cancer or something where they're definitely going to die, but also like this might apply to when somebody has died, that we feel these feelings. And the emotion, she says in her order, and again, just to be clear, most psychologists today say, well, she's got something here. We don't all feel these stages exactly this way. But first she says you go into denial. Like, I can't believe this happened to me. I'm a good person. How did I get brain cancer? I'm going to die. It's not real. Okay? Or if somebody dies, they're going to be like, or somebody dies, they'll be like, look, it didn't happen. Like in your mind, you've maybe seen this at a funeral where the person is in complete shock and you're like, geez, they're really handling this well. They're not saying anything about the person died. That's denial. Okay? Their brain literally and their emotions haven't accepted that. Then there's anger. And if you go into anything where you deal with people, any jobs like a police officer, a teacher, a nurse, doctors know this, they can be very angry, especially at the end of life. So people can be angry and bitter. And under this theory, you want to try to detach yourself from that and be like, look, don't take it personal. If somebody's dying, that's really horrible. So if you go into jobs like this, you're going to have to try to be compassionate. We're going to have to try to be empathetic and think about their feelings first, even though they might not be nice to us. And it's very hard, trust me. You have to walk away. So maybe you have to be like, look, they're going through this, and you got to walk away. And if we can't do that, then maybe jobs that work with people just are not for us. Not everybody can be a teacher or a police officer or a firefighter or a nurse or a doctor. It takes a special kind of person. And that's why maybe there's only a few people that do it. Bargaining, this is the stage where people that are in terminal illness start talking about, God, if you just give me a few more years, I promise I'll be a good person. I'm sorry, I've made mistakes. They're trying to bargain with God. They're trying to bargain with themselves and convince themselves that this is not going to happen. And also it happens if somebody dies. You might see somebody being like, look, if I could just have another moment with my father or somebody, I'll do anything. They're trying to work with this. They also get angry at God. They believe God or gods, depending on their religion. Then you get depressed. People tend to become depressed. And depression could look like everything like I can't get out of bed. It can come out as anger. They lash out at their friends and family. Depressive, they just want to sleep. Leave me alone. You can't get them to do anything. Leave me alone, And they focus in on only their emotions and what's happening to them. And then finally, she says that we usually go through what's called acceptance, where we accept the fact that they're gone. Maybe we get what's called closure, and then we're like, I'll always love them, and the way I can represent them is the way I treat people today. Like if you lose your grandparent, be like, well, my grandpa was a good person, so if I'm good to other people, then I represent my family and my grandfather in this world. Or I'm going to die, because we all are, and I lived a good life, and I'm trying to work through this. Now, later psychologists have acknowledged that, as well as other emotions involved in grieving, have shown that the stages are not necessarily in order. So just be clear on that. This is not always in order, even though she might have thought it was that way. But these do tend to be the stages of terminal illness and could be what we feel or go through when somebody just saw somebody die. So that's why if you go to a funeral and you see people are angry, or you see people that are depressed, and people are in denial, people feel different feelings and are different stages. So try not to personalize that or think, oh, that's a bad person. They don't care that they died. Well, they might be in denial. Or, man, why are they so mean? Well, they might be angry. So, and then here's the chart. I want you to kind of think of some